Today we're going to be doing a full body dumbbell workout. We're going to be starting with compound movements, working a lot of muscles all at once, and then moving to isolation movements, working really focusing in on just a couple muscles to build them up. So if that sounds good to you, hit that like button for me. It lets me know that you like that sort of content and I can build more of that. And it helps support the channel, so thank you for that. So we're going to start out with some compound movements, doing a warm-up. So for that warm-up, I'm gonna grab a dumbbell that's a little bit lighter to get some blood flow into the muscles and prime them for work. So we're not going in cold, we're letting that muscle warm up a little bit. So we're gonna be starting working the chest muscle, that anterior deltoid, and the tricep muscle all at once in a dumbbell bench press. So for that, I'm gonna grab a bench. Now, if you don't have a bench, you could also do this laying down in a bed or on the ground. And I'm gonna grab a pair of dumbbells. So for this, I'm gonna have the dumbbells right on my knees. Kick my knees up to get them right over the top of my shoulders. Now, I'm gonna put the dumbbells not close together, but right over the top of my shoulders so that it keeps that tension on the muscle the whole time. That's where we build muscle, is when the muscle is under tension. From here, I'm gonna bend my elbows down. Now, it's okay for your elbows to drop straight down, so they're sort of by your ribs. I don't have to have my elbows way up here by my shoulders. It's okay for them to be sort of at a 45-degree angle. So I'm keeping my hands in line with my elbows so the dumbbells stay wide, and bending that elbow down. I should feel that tension across my chest as I'm doing this though. So we're gonna do 10 reps of this, just 10 times up and down. Now it shouldn't be strenuous yet, so it shouldn't be a struggle. If you're struggling on the warm-up, you're doing too heavy of a dumbbell. So try a little bit lighter of a dumbbell. The goal of the warm-up is just to get blood flow into the muscle, to prime it to start. Now, the other great thing I like about a warm-up is, especially if you're having a rough day or if it's difficult, a warm-up helps set your body up to start working out. So, if you're feeling tired and just it's difficult to start a workout, I know I have those days too. Honestly, today is kind of that for me. A warm-up helps me get into a workout and break through that wall of just not feeling motivated or tired. Sometimes just a warm-up helps you get past that. Or if you're feeling sore, if you go into a warm-up and you can feel that the muscle is just not recovered yet, that's a great indicator saying maybe you need a little bit more recovery time before you really push that muscle again. So a warm-up is a great thing on both sides of that. So now we're gonna do a supported row. So I'm gonna use one dumbbell, and I like to keep about the same weight for both because I find they're about the same for a supported row. We're gonna be working the muscles in the back of the shoulder, the upper back, and the bicep with this. So compound movement using all of those muscles. For this, what I want to do is put my hand right underneath my shoulder. I'm gonna try and keep my back as straight as possible. So I'm not really twisting to get down to the ground. What I'm trying to do is just let my arm completely hang to the ground as much as possible. And that's gonna put the maximum tension on that lat, and because the lats actually pull this way and pull this way up to the back. So what I'm trying to do is let that lat completely hang to the ground and then pull up. So I'm not really twisting down. I'm just letting the arm hang as far down as possible. And that's gonna put that tension on that lat. So I'm doing about 10 of these per side. I'm pulling up to my rib cage with my hand, I don't want to pull really high up here. I want to try and pull straight up to the back. Almost like I'm elbowing the ceiling. And same thing on the other side. I'll put the hand right underneath the shoulder, back straight, and letting the arm fully hang. I should feel that tension in my upper back. And again, doing about 10 reps of these as a warm-up. So now, feel a little bit more warmed up. You should feel blood flow into the muscles. The muscles should feel a little more relaxed, a little more pliable. If you need to, you could do another warm-up set, gradually increasing the weight until you find a weight that's challenging for you at 10 reps. For me, I like to go straight from that first set into a working set, which means I'm going to a weight that is difficult. So it should be challenging but not overwhelming. The goal is to get somewhere around 10 reps. Now, scientifically, you can do as few as 5 reps and that will be okay. But for me, I like to shoot for closer to 10, going a little bit higher reps, because 5 reps, I have to go pretty high weight. The risk of injury is a little bit higher for me. So that's why I would recommend trying to aim for higher reps, especially if it's a new exercise for you. Better to start high reps and then get used to the exercise, know what your body can handle. So I'm moving up to a 40-pound dumbbell from a 30-pound. Going back to dumbbell chest or bench press. Let me know, do you guys hear this called a chest press or a bench press? I've always heard this as a bench press, but I've heard it, or I've always called it a bench press. I've heard it called both though. So my hands right over the top of my shoulders, chest out, bending the elbow down, tapping the outside of my chest with a dumbbell. Trying for 10 reps of these. I should feel that tension across my chest. You should feel that across your chest as you go down. Trying to go all the way down, doing full reps. Breathing out and breathing in. Keep on breathing. Don't hold your breath. And relax. And I'm gonna set one dumbbell to the side. Going straight into a supported row. So hand underneath the shoulder, back straight, let the arm fully hang to the ground, elbowing up towards the ceiling. I'm letting that arm go fully back to a hang position to really add tension to that muscle. And relax. So this is a compound movement. We're working a lot of muscles all at once, doing a pulling movement. Pulling up to the back. So we're covering most of the upper body with these 2 exercises. And relax. So I like to take a minute between to grab a sip of water. So especially On warm days, I like to take a moment, let my body cool off just a little bit between sets, so I'm not being limited by some other thing other than my muscles, like my cardio or my just overheating. So I like to take just a minute between, then jump back in for a second set, because when we do another set of an exercise, it helps build that muscle faster. So take about a minute, grab a sip of water, cool off, and then we'll go back into another set of bench press. Now we're gonna be doing some leg compound movements and really targeting into the shoulder with some isolation movements in just a minute. But first, we're gonna do one more set of a dumbbell bench press. So, numbers I like to shoot for are 2 sets for muscles I'm trying to maintain, and 4 or 5 sets for muscles I'm trying to grow. So, these muscles I'm just trying to maintain their size and strength, and we're gonna be moving into some shoulder exercises that I'm really trying to grow and build up those muscles. So those we're gonna do quite a few sets of. So chest out. And relax. And going into a supported row. So letting the arm fully hang, pulling up to the back. I'm trying to keep my spine straight as I do this. Just letting the arm fully hang down to put that tension into the muscle. I'm really trying to feel that here in my lats and the back of my shoulder. And so, because if I can feel the muscle working, I know that's building that area. So, if you're doing it, you feel in your low back, your back's not straight. You want to really straighten that spine, let the arm hang, pull up to the back. And one more, and 10. And relax. All right, so I'm gonna move the bench out of the way, and we're gonna go into an isolation exercise for the deltoid muscle, or that ball of muscle that's around the shoulder blade, or ball of the shoulder. Attaches right here, and then goes down into your humerus, or the bone in your upper arm. So for this, I'm gonna need a lighter dumbbell. Now I like changing it up on this one. Sometimes I use a dumbbell, sometimes I use a resistance band. Today we're gonna be using dumbbells. So, a lot of people have seen this exercise. It's called a lateral raise. I think it's a really effective way of building up that dumbbell muscle by itself. What you're gonna do is start with your hands out to your sides, right at your sides, and then lift straight up to the sides. I want my thumbs to point towards the front. Now, some people have probably seen where your thumbs are pointed down. That actually can pinch your shoulder, that nerve that runs through your arm, into your funny bone. It actually starts right up here. We don't want to pinch that, especially while you're holding a weight. So we want to keep that thumb pointed straight towards the front. So from here, starting with your hands at your sides, lifting up to shoulder height, and then back down, doing 10 reps, trying to go 10 times slowly down. You're not just letting it drop to your sides, you're trying to control all the way down to keep that tension in the muscle the whole time. Now, if you feel it in the tops of your shoulders and your neck, try to not bring your shoulders up towards your ears. Only lift the hands and then drop back down. And relax. What happens is, if you're lifting from the traps, these muscles up here, you actually see a little bit of this movement. We want to try and avoid that by just lifting, keeping those shoulders down, lifting just with the hands. You should feel that right here in your deltoid muscle. So this is a pretty good isolation movement for those deltoids. So I'm trying to grow this muscle. So that means I'm trying to get as many sets of this exercise as I can. This muscle both broadens your shoulders. If you think about it, if you were to put muscle out here, it's just like shoulder pads. It makes you look broader up here. So I'm doing it for that. Also, I find, especially my left shoulder, when this muscle gets fatigued, this shoulder starts clicking sometimes in how it moves. So the more I strengthen this, the less that happens because it's more fatigue resistant. So that's one of the reasons I really like this exercise. I think it's so good for my shoulder. So if you are looking for healthy, strong shoulders, for physique or for health, either way, I recommend this exercise. So starting with your hands at your sides, lifting up to the side, and then back. Now I'm only having to go as high as my shoulders. I don't have to lift above that. There's no problem with doing that as long as you can do it without discomfort in your shoulder. For some people, the gap that the nerve goes through is a little more narrow, so lifting higher than the shoulder is painful or causes a tingling feeling down the arm. If that's you, only go as high as you can as high as you can without it hurting or feeling that tingling feeling. So if that's here, that's totally fine, because you've got that what's called the subacromial space. It's the space between that bone and your bicep tendon. It goes right through there, and then the nerve threads through there as well. So only go as high as you can go with no pain or discomfort in your arm or shoulder. So this is an isolation movement for that deltoid. If you really want to build that up, that means we need to do this repeated multiple times per workout and probably multiple times per week. So for me, I try and do it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and do 4 to 5 sets of this exercise to really build up the deltoid as fast as I can, because it's the small muscles that recovers quickly. So after we finish this, we're going to be going to some leg exercises to build up the leg muscles with some compound exercises. So starting with your hands right at your sides, lifting up to shoulder height. Now, if you like these live streams and want to see more, I host them on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. These are my workouts that I'm doing. I do them on camera because I'm not telling you to do one thing and then doing something different. So if you want the results that I'm trying to accomplish too, then I'm here to help in any way I can, to encourage. Let's do it together. Let's get stronger together. And relax. So I'm trying to do my best to apply science to my workouts and what research has shown to be most effective. And so if you're interested in joining me on that, I hope to see you guys here. So I'm trying for at least one more set of that. I'm just letting the muscle recover a little bit. You probably feel a burning sensation in that deltoid. That's actually a good thing. Where that muscle is built up what's called lactic acid. It's actually when your body burns sugar, that is part of the process. It produces lactic acid. So that actually means you're burning off sugar. So that's great. If you're trying to lose weight, just think about it that way. Hey, this is actually my body doing what I want it to. And when we do that, when we work the muscle, you're doing resistance training, it actually stores more of the sugar in muscle as muscle glycogen. And that way we're not having to convert that into fat. So you actually store sugar in your muscles. The more we work them, the bigger those muscles are, the more sugar we're storing in it. Trying to make sure I lift straight out to the sides. And relax. I got one more I want to do on that, but definitely feeling tired. So as you go through a workout and start to feel more tired, you might have to do fewer reps on your later sets. That's okay. Usually that's what's called a drop set. Now, some people do what's called a pyramid set where they actually add more and more reps the longer they go. I've never liked that sort of training. It is effective. If it works for you, that's great. For me, I find trying to do what's called straight sets, where I'm trying to keep the same number of reps each time, or drop sets where I'm decreasing the reps as I go. Those two ways work more effectively for me, but you have to find if that's gonna work for you. So I'd recommend starting out with straight sets, trying to find a weight you can do at multiple times without having to reduce the number of reps. So we're gonna do our last set, lifting up to the side. Should feel that burning in the muscle at the end of this. Trying to go for 10 reps. We're halfway there. 6, 7, 8, just like you're making a snow angel. 9, and 10, and relax. I'm gonna set down the dumbbells for just a second. And I'm gonna let my heart rate come back down. So, limiting rest time between, I try and go for a minute or two between at most, because that way I get through a workout much faster. If you need to, especially if you're starting out, you can take a little bit longer between sets or between exercises, and that will help you get through that. It will take a little bit longer to do the workout, but if you need it, especially if you're starting out, it's very easy to push yourself too hard too quickly. I'd recommend starting out slow, and even if it takes you, let's say, a little bit longer, an extra 15, 20 minutes, but you get through the workout, that's the important thing. And it'd be no good if I see a lot of people when they start things like boot camps or get fit in 30 days challenges, where they go really hard the first day, they really push themselves, and by the second or third workout, they're already wanting to quit and wanting to stop, and a lot of them do. So it's better to start slow and build up momentum as you go, rather than starting fast and then stopping right away. It's just like running a race. You don't start a race by sprinting you want to finish strong. So start at a pace you know you can maintain through the whole race. So for this next exercise, we're going to do a leg exercise, doing a squat. So I'm going to bring my hands right to my sides. I'm having my feet about shoulder width apart. So from here, let's switch to this camera actually. Cut off my head a little bit, but you'll be able to see me at the very bottom. So from here, feet about shoulder width apart. I'm gonna bend my knees, going down to the ground, or as low as I can to the ground, keeping my chest up. So I'm trying to look up towards the front. I'm doing about 10 reps of these, working the muscles in my legs. I'm keeping my back straight as I go down, really trying to bend the knees. And 10. So that's working primarily these quad muscles, the hamstrings, primarily the quads though, because I'm really trying to bend those knees to emphasize this in here. So now I'm going to work a little bit more of those hamstrings in the back, doing what's called a stiff-legged deadlift. And I'm going to be doing a wall variation of this. So for this, staying right in front of a wall, same foot position. I'm gonna let the dumbbells hang in front of my legs. From here, I'm gonna push my hips back, keeping my back straight. I'm gonna stand, you could just step against the wall, take one small step forward, and that gets you the right distance away from the wall. I'm gonna push my hips back, tap the wall, and then back up. Should feel that tension in my hamstrings, in the back of my thigh. Trying to keep my knees stiff so they don't bend. And the wall helps me really drive my hips back so my back stays straight. So our goal with this is to keep that back straight and just hinge from that big hinge, that big joint of the hips. If I'm doing this, I'm rounding my back. That's putting all that pressure into the little joints of the back here. It's not good. That's how people hurt their backs. So we want to get used to using these big hinge muscles of the hips and hamstrings to do that movement. That's going to help protect your back while you're doing any sort of lifting or even just day-to-day life. I've talked with clients who are trying to reach down and pick up their kid. So if they reach down like this and then try and lift with their back, that's really hard. So I taught them was to hinge at their hips and do it that way, using the large muscles in their legs rather than the small muscles in their back. So it's really practical if you're weightlifting, really practical in just day-to-day living. How many people have you heard stories of trying to reach down to pick something up or pick someone up and they throw their back out? I knew someone who reached down to pick up their cat and threw their back out lifting up their cat. So the more we can do that in a way that saves your back, the better. So we're gonna go one more set of squats. Hands right at your sides, feet about shoulder width apart. So you're gonna bend your knees, keeping your chest up. So try and point your chest straight up to the front. Bend the knees, go down and back up. So I'm really bending my knees in line with my toes. So keeping that back straight. All the way down as low as you can, trying to almost set the dumbbells on the ground. Last one, and 10. Then hands in front of your thighs. Go up to the wall. Take one small step forward. And we're gonna do a stiff-legged deadlift. So hands in front of the thighs, push your hips back to the wall and back up. Trying to keep that back straight. So look up towards the front. Should feel that tension in your hamstrings. And 10. And relax. So with that, we've covered all of our major muscles. If you like these sort of workouts and want to see more, I host them at 11 a.m. Pacific time on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Hope to see you there. Until then, keep on moving. Hope you stay healthy and